Hello. Welcome, good evening. I'm Dr. John Ryder, and it's my honor to serve as the Dean of the University of New England College of Dental Medicine. I'd like to welcome everyone here to our fourth white coat ceremony in honor of the class of 2020. For those of you that could not be here tonight, this event is being streamed live around the world, as well as being recorded so that it will later be able to be seen on our website, and forever will be live in cyberspace as well, I suppose. So behave yourselves, don't do anything wrong. I'd like to welcome all the guests here tonight, including some special friends and supporters of the college, adjunct faculty members, members of the local dental community, members of the State Board of Dental Examiners and the Maine Dental Association, and other dignitaries. Thank you for coming. I would especially like to thank all the parents, grandparents, children, extended family and friends and students, not only for being here tonight, but also for your support for the class and for our college. I'd like to thank the heart and soul of our college, the talented and dedicated faculty and staff that come to us literally from around the world and who provide the knowledge, skills, wisdom, and opportunities for students to learn and become outstanding healthcare professionals. I almost get scared when I look at them because on the first year there was only, I think, 8 of us on this stage, and now look at how many. We grow so fast. And thank you to the students, of course, for choosing UNE for your dental education. I'd also like to recognize some key staff members that organized this event and were able to create all this for us tonight. Mr. Isaac Stickney, our Educational Support Coordinator, Mr. Travis Erickson, our Assistant Director of Student Success, and Maddie Brooks, the Dean's Office Administrative Assistant. So the class of 2020, we were discussing in the hallway on the way out here that there used to be a show about 2020 was the future, and where we would have electric cars and phones on our watches, and I guess all that's come true, isn't it? We actually are living in the future. So with this class of 2020, we now have a full complement of students and classes in our college. This now allows us to fully engage and implement many of the new teaching and learning methods we have only been talking about in the past. This class will be able to take full advantage of things like upperclassmen mentors, teaching assistants, seasoned professors, and vertical integration of a group practice where the students team treat patients and actually help teach and learn from each other. At the UNE College of Dental Medicine, we take something called the humanistic environment very seriously. A humanistic environment establishes a context for the development of interpersonal skills necessary for learning, for patient care, and making meaningful contributions to the profession. And most importantly, it supports and cultivates the development of professionalism and ethical behavior by fostering diversity of faculty, students, and staff, and open communication, leadership, and scholarship. I'm very proud to say that this is the most diverse class that we have had, with over 30% of the class indicating minority status on their applications. This class has been also the most competitive so far, with over 29 candidates competing for each one of your seats. It's remarkable that remarkable students like these that will help establish the University of New England College of Dental Medicine as one of the most respected intellectual centers in the country and around the world. At this point, I'd like to recognize newly elected class officers in the class. As I read your names, would you please stand? President John Hofheinz. Vice President Spencer Bentz. Secretary Emily Floyd. And Treasurer Brittany Malia. Thank you very much. Good luck as the class officers. I didn't say that sarcastically, did I? The white coat ceremony symbolizes the initial entry of each member of the class of 2020 into our profession. The white coat ceremony in dentistry is a relatively new tradition which started only about 20 years ago. Dental students had traditionally been welcomed into the profession at graduation from the program, but today's ceremony changes this concept by welcoming you at the beginning of your dental education and recognizes you as part of the dental profession as you begin your training. We have embroidered our white coats with the official emblem of dentistry. The emblem was adopted by the American Dental Association in 1965. The intertwined triangle and circle are the Greek letters of delta, which represent the letter D in the word dentistry, and the Greek letter omicron, which represents odont, meaning tooth. The central figure is a serpent wrapped around a cautery and 32 leaves with 20 berries representing the 32 permanent teeth and the 20 deciduous or baby teeth. The background color of lilac was chosen as the color of dentistry in 1897 by the National Association of Dental Faculties, and also trims the graduation hoods, caps, and gowns. You will notice that the faculty are wearing slightly longer coats compared to, as you will see, the shorter coats of the students. This represents the greater length of time that the faculty have been practicing as opposed to the students. Actually, I just made that part up because we really have longer coats because sometimes the patients have trouble determining who's a faculty member and who's a student. So. Thank you for recognizing my jokes. I appreciate that. The white coat ceremony marks the beginning of a lifelong professional and educational journey. It is a traditional symbol of compassion, professional training, clinical excellence, and serves to remind us of the privileges and duties we have as dentists and the responsibilities we have as service to the public. I recently read an essay that was in an American Dental Association publication. It was written by Dr. Daniel Bernstein, a new graduate from the University of North Carolina Dental School. And I'd like to share a few lines of this essay that he wrote called Worth the Wait. Waiting. Lines of people just waiting. Some wait through the cold nights, others wait through hot days. Some stand while some sit, waiting for dental care, waiting for pain relief, waiting for aesthetic improvement to their smile. I've seen them wait in the villages of Nepal, the mountains of Peru, the Indian Health Service clinics of Arizona, the mobile clinics throughout North Carolina, Medicaid offices of Asheville, and the student-run volunteer offices in Chapel Hill. These patients are waiting to receive a skill and an art, a trade that relies upon trust, a service feared by some while revered by others. All of this tireless waiting pushes me. It motivates me to pursue greatness. If they're going to wait for me, sacrifice their time, their money, and energy all for me, it makes me want to be the best that I can be. I want the dentistry that I perform to be worth the wait. With this kind of self-assured understanding of commitment to education and practice, Dr. Bernstein displayed in his essay, You Can Move Mountains. The mission of the College of Dental Medicine is to improve the health of Northern New England and shape the future of dentistry through excellence in education, discovery, and service. This statement frames our culture. We have a purpose not only to educate and train you to be excellent doctors, but also to be socially responsible, publicly engaged, transformative leaders. You must hold tight to your ethics and express your values through collaboration, inclusiveness, tolerance, empathy, and passion for your profession. We believe the College of Dental Medicine fosters true partnership between students, faculty, and patients. Class of 2020, today we invite you to be partners with us in our mission and colleagues in our profession. The future is bright, the possibilities are endless, so welcome to dentistry. Thank you. I'd like to introduce our guest speaker at this time, our keynote speaker. Without this gentleman, sorry, I have a little cold, we may still have a dental school at UNE, but I'm sure it would be a very different place, as it was his work and experience that established the foundation, direction, and culture that created this outstanding college that we have today. Dr. James Coble is our founding dean and current provost and senior vice president of the university. Dr. Coble is a Chicago native, and I can't read my writing on this, graduated from dental school in 1973, so you can fill in the blanks later on. Has gone on to achieve, since graduating from dental school in 1973, he's gone on to achieve 2 master's degrees, worked in private practice, served as a dental school faculty member, become a program director, a department chair, assistant dean, associate dean of clinical affairs and academic affairs, and served as executive associate director for the American Dental Association. Dr. Coble has more than 15 years experience as a dean. He served as the dean of West Virginia University School of Dentistry, the founding dean of Western University Health Sciences College of Dental Medicine in Pomona, California, and of course the founding dean of UNE College of Dental Medicine. He has served as the vice chair and chair of the Commission of Dental Accreditation and served as consultant to CODA by chairing comprehensive dental school accreditation site visits throughout the country for 8 years. And these are just some of his accomplishments. You can read the rest in the program. I'm proud to include him as my friend and grateful to have him as my mentor. Please welcome Dr. James Coble.
Thank you, Dean Ryder. He read that exactly the way I wrote it. He did a terrific job. My mother would be proud if she were here today. I want to welcome the students, and my remarks tonight are really directed to the newest members of our profession, our first-year students. The rest of you, you're certainly welcome to listen in if you'd like. If you don't want to and want to do other things, that's okay. But these are remarks that I make from the heart based on all this experience that Dean Ryder talked about. You're very important people to us. We're really grateful that you chose UNE for your dental education, but I have some bad news for you. You are not the most important people in the equation anymore. That honor is reserved for these other people that we call patients. So patients are number one. You can be number 1A if you'd like, but from now on, from this day forward, that other person deserves your respect, your caring, your dedication. You know, John talked about us starting the dental school, but nobody ever does anything really significant on their own. We all kind of stand on the shoulders of great people who have gone before us. And as new members of the profession, your success that you're going to achieve is really, you owe in part to the people who have gone before you. Dentistry was not always a profession, or at least not the way we define it today. There was a time when anyone could call himself, and it usually was back in those days a himself, call himself a dentist. All you had to do was be trained through an apprenticeship with another practitioner who was trained in the same way years earlier. So as you might imagine, the quality of care varied greatly from practitioner to practitioner. And at that time, I don't think dentistry really had the right to consider itself to be a profession. It was more of a trade. In fact, many of the first dentists were also barbers. I don't know much about barbers. I understand they're important people in society, but some of us don't really have the need for that service anymore. But fortunately for us, there were folks way back then who believed that dentistry should be based on an organized scientific foundation, and that this newly emerging profession required a much more comprehensive university-based system of education. And so the first dental school in the world was incorporated in Baltimore, the state of Maryland, on March 6, 1840. That was the Baltimore College of Dental Surgery, the first dental school in this country. And since that time, as you can tell from what you're doing now, the profession has come a long way. And our young College of Dental Medicine has already come a long way in a short time. Initial planning began back in 2008 when the UNE Board of Trustees approved the academic plan. In 2010, the board formally approved the establishment of a dental school. In 2011, in late winter, Dr. Jones Sandell and I took a wagon train from California across the Rocky Mountains and the prairies of Nebraska and Wyoming to the woods of Maine to help the folks here start a new dental school. And at that time, there were only 3 of us. Goddard Hall was a shell. It was empty, just 4 walls with nothing inside of it. There was no oral health center. In fact, back then, we didn't have the slightest idea of where the oral health center would be built. There were plans to build it in different locations in and around Portland, and many of those fell through till we settled on the current location. So now I look in this program and I count over 50 faculty, full-time and part-time, over 24 staff. So we have come a long, long way. The first class, the seniors now that you look up to, right? You look up to all of the 4th-year students? Oh, okay, well, you should. They are evidence. See, they sat here 4 years ago, and they sat here thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to get through this? And you just need to look at those juniors and seniors and say, if they can do it, I can do it. They should be your inspiration. You can make it through here. But they were pioneers. We didn't have buildings to show them. We just had us and a promise that we would take care of them and build a great dental school for them. And they believed us, as they should have. They were the pioneers, and you're now another group of those pioneers. So you're going to take what those first 3 classes did, and you're going to help us continue to build an even better dental school as time goes forward. There were a lot of people involved back then, many of whom were not dentists. They were members of the university community, the president, the board of trustees, all kinds of staff who worked with us to help develop the program. Individuals that Dean Ryder has mentioned who provided and continued to provide financial support, including Northeast Delta Dental, our founding donor. The people of the state of Maine who passed a $5 million bond to help this private university build a dental school, unprecedented for a state to do that for a private school. Some people sitting in the first rows today are part of that group who raised over $9.5 million back then to help us get the dental school going. We had architects, engineers, equipment planners, craftsmen, plumbers, electricians. They all communicate together. If you think about building a building like the Oral Health Center, it's interprofessional practice at its very best. All these folks in these different trades, these different professions have to come together, and in the end, everything has to work to deliver that great facility that you work in today. The founding faculty and staff, Dean Ryder mentioned, there were 8 people at one time. Pretty soon we're going to have to hold this in the auditorium in downtown Portland to hold all the people who will be involved. But they spent countless hours to ensure that we would be accredited and have an approved dental program. The current faculty and staff, you cannot believe how hard these folks work. I'm biased, of course, but I would say this in front of any audience, is that the faculty and staff in a College of Dental Medicine work harder than just about any other college of a university. And I can say that now with great certainty. It is a 24/7 job, and they love every minute of it. And they're very committed to treating you as members of our profession. And if they're not, send me an email, we'll straighten them out, okay? And you, too, you are not only students. You're not just here to receive an education. You're here to work with us to help make the dental school better. So will you look back 10 years from now, and if this school is in great shape and doing well and has a terrific reputation, which it will, you can say, I was part of that. I helped do that. You know already, right, you have chosen one of the most rigorous educational programs. Is there any student looking back at me who doesn't understand that yet? Have you figured that out? Yes, okay, all right. Well, it's true. You have to learn the science of the human body. You have to learn the technical sciences and skills of all aspects of clinical dentistry. You're already being asked to coordinate this information you learn in your gross anatomy lab or microbiology lectures with the dental principles and procedures that you're performing on your simulated patients. I was in the simulation clinic a week or so ago. I don't get there as often as I'd like anymore, but the first-year students were in the simulation clinic, and we call it a clinic for a reason. These are patients. They have electronic health records. They have health histories. If you have a chance, if we're going to do a tour of the school, come on over and see that. It's dentistry at its best. But these are first-year students in the first few weeks of their class that are already restoring teeth. And I can promise you, I know a little something about dentistry and dental education. There are very few first-year students in the second or third week of class who are already restoring teeth and performing clinical dentistry. So you are already ahead of the curve, whether you know it or not. But it's also stressful, right? It's a lot of hours. You take the equivalent of 35 semester hours, probably twice as much as the average college student. And there is no basket weaving, there is no phys ed. These are all hard courses, whether they're dental sciences, clinical sciences, biomedical sciences, or clinical skills. But you know, there's a reason for this. We have to take you as rookies, and in 3 years, and now 3 years and 8 months from now, which is when you're going to graduate, we'll talk about that in a minute. You don't have 4 years, so don't waste any time here. But we've got to turn you from rookies into these competent, caring, safe, beginning dental practitioners. But it does have a positive side. You know, you don't want to tell old stories. I mean, I'm looking, you know, I had the title of dean, Dean Ryder has the title of dean, but there's someone in the audience who's the real dean, whose name is actually Dean. You know, you can call him Dean and he will answer. If you call me Dean, I look around and see who you're talking about. But there was a day when the dean of a dental school would stand up in front of a group of students like this and say, look to your right, look to your left. One of those people won't be here 4 years from now. Welcome to the profession, right? It was a little different back then. But what I'd like to say is to tell you to look to your right, look to your left, work together with those people to ensure that each and every one of you will walk across that stage in 2020 and get your degree. You're a team now, and it's your job to help each other with the faculty to be successful. You know, professions have a lot of rights. We have a right to self-government, sort of, depending upon how things are going in Washington and Augusta. But we do believe still we have a right to self-government. We have a primary duty, though, of service to the public. And you've heard this already. These two characteristics are embodied tonight as you receive your white coats. Self-government speaks to moral, ethical, and professional standards that we commit to, and always using our knowledge and skill in the patient's best interest, not in our own best interest. The white coat symbolizes your affirmation that your purpose in serving the public will be pure, and that you will honor the tradition in placing the interest of patients above yourself. It's as simple as treating every patient with the ethics and moral code that you would for any family member. Because when you think about it, your patients are somebody's mother, somebody's father, somebody's sister, somebody's son. And I think all of us want the people we care about to be cared for in turn by competent providers. And I promise you, you will be those competent healthcare providers. But you have to take advantage of every opportunity to learn. 3 years, 8 months from now, not a lot of time to learn what you need to learn to go out and take care of these people we call patients. But the more you learn, the more skills you master, the more experiences you have while you're in school, the better prepared you'll be to meet the needs of your patients. And your education actually begins at graduation. I know you're thinking, oh boy, well, if I could finally make it and walk across that stage and get that diploma, I can relax. That's when it begins. That's when it starts. You have to dedicate yourselves to continuing to learn and develop new skills. That's part of being a professional person. I can look you in the eye and say, if you leave dental school and you don't learn anything new in 5 years, then if you want to be an ethical person, you should turn in your diploma and turn in your license and go do something else, because you're so far behind what's going on, you'll never catch up. I'm exaggerating, but just a little bit. Keep in mind the story of the group of young students who went on an outing to visit a famous artist. And as the students arrived, the artist was just completing a beautiful painting, was hanging it up to dry. And one of the students asked, how long did it take you to complete that painting? "It took me about 2 hours to apply the paint to the canvas," replied the artist, "and about 40 years to learn how." Keep learning, keep practicing, and one day you will be artists too. You know, people are constantly discussing the future of healthcare and oral health care. What will dentistry be like in 10, 20, or 30 years from now? And if anybody stands in front of you and tells you they know exactly what that's going to look like, they're making it up, because we don't really know. But we don't worry about that, because our goal is not to prepare you for a specific future. Our goal is to prepare you for whatever the future holds. And whatever the future holds, I mean, if you talk to some of the practitioners who are here, some of our faculty who've been in practice, they're doing things today that they didn't learn in dental school. And it wasn't that they didn't go to high-quality dental schools. Those things didn't exist when we went to dental school. So those things you have to learn once you leave us. And no matter what the practice is like, the things you're going to learn here about professionalism, ethics, morals, taking care of patients, putting the patients in front of yourself, those are things, those are values that are going to carry you through to success, no matter what dentistry looks like 30 years from now. So let's fast forward. We talked a little bit about the past, a little bit about the present. Let's talk a little bit about the future. And speaking of the future, there's a future dental student up there in the crowd. I hope she's paying attention to every word. Imagine that it is now May 2020. There's a different stage with a few different people on the stage. And we're gathered as a university to celebrate commencement. And each one of you will walk across a different stage to shake the president's hand and receive your Doctor of Dental Medicine degrees. How will we recognize you? How will someone who doesn't know you as well as we do recognize you? Well, first of all, you're going to all be smiling. That's a given, right? But not just because you're graduating, but because you've spent 4 years being treated as professional colleagues in an exciting, innovative, humanistic learning environment. You'll be smiling. And if you talk to your senior students, they're still smiling. And trust me, they've been beaten down along the way, but they're still smiling. You'll learn the habit of being lifelong learners and critical thinkers. You'll know how to access and evaluate information, including the very latest scientific research, and how to use that information to take care of your patients. You have learned human medicine, and you'll fully understand and appreciate the connections between oral health and overall health. We know that. We're still trying to teach the rest of the world how important oral health is. But as a former Surgeon General said, you cannot have good overall health without good oral health, and that's very, very true. You will have learned the most up-to-date techniques in the art and science of dental practice. As of the time you graduate, that's going to change. You'll have developed communication and leadership skills, and will have been exposed to the business side of dental practice. Because it's fine, all these values we talk about are fine, but dentistry is also a business. And if you can't run your business and learn how to run your business and at least bring in a little more money than goes out, then you're not going to provide all those great services to those patients. So it is important that you run very successful businesses, and during your dental education, we try to teach you that. Now, students graduate from dental school and say, wow, I learned all this stuff, but nobody ever taught me anything about business. The truth is, we try to teach you, but at the time you're students, you're not ready to listen. You're too worried about getting that next crown in or studying for that anatomy exam. Take a breath every once in a while and learn the stuff you're going to learn from these faculty in terms of how we run our group practices, because you have to make a living doing this. And there are people counting on you, your families, your parents, who are hoping one day that you will find a way to pay them back for all of the support that they've provided you. In ways other than money, of course, but money doesn't hurt either. You'll get to work with other professional people from other professions, other disciplines, and you'll appreciate that it takes a team of people to provide the very best care. It's dentists, dental hygienists, dental assistants, dental lab techs, of course, but you'll learn to work with physicians, you'll learn to work with nurses, you'll learn to work with social workers, because at any given time, your patients will have complex healthcare needs that you're going to need help taking care of. And you'll be knowledgeable about the many issues related to access to care, health policy, public and community health. You're going to be expected to be leaders. You can't just go to your office and forget about the rest of the world. The folks here from the Dental Association give countless hours to help improve the profession. They don't get paid for those hours, but they do it because they know it's important and they want to pass the torch along to you. And you will have had many, many positive experiences in providing patient-centered, evidence-based, comprehensive oral health care to a diverse family of patients in the northern New England area. And you may, if Dean Ryder has his way, even have had the opportunity to enjoy global experiences in helping to learn about healthcare systems in other countries. But most importantly to us, and I think to your patients, you will be ethical, caring people who happen to be doctors of dental medicine. And I kind of stole that line from one of the greats in dental education and dentistry, Dr. Art Degoni, who was the dean for 30 years at the University of the Pacific. And he said it slightly differently, but we've all tried to emulate him, that we grow people, and along the way, they learn to be doctors. And that's how we feel here. So, as each one of you tonight is assisted in putting on your white coat, we welcome you to the dental profession and to the significance of the white coat. A reminder of your responsibility to each and every patient that you're going to see. They will trust you. They will trust that you will listen to them, that you have the knowledge and skill to diagnose and treat their individual oral health care needs. There's no greater honor in the world, I don't think, than to have another human being entrust themselves to your care. You are, and you will continue to be, worthy of that honor. We are proud to have you as members of our great profession. Thank you very much.
Okay, at this point, we'd like to move to the presentation of the white coats. I'd like to invite Associate Deans Dr. Nicole Kimmis and Dr. Tim Martinez to begin the coat presentation. And I'd also like to invite Provost Coble to join me on the stage to shake their hands.
Thank you, Dean Ryder. Our class of 2018 and 2019 representatives will lead the class of 2020 to the stage. I will be introducing each student, and they will proceed to the center of the stage to receive their white coat from Dean Martinez. Dean Ryder will then shake each student's hand. Guests, you are welcome to come forward to take photographs and are encouraged to do so. The student will return to their seats and be seated after the photographs are taken. I ask that the audience please hold their applause until all students have returned to their seats. Will the first row of student doctors please rise and approach the stage? Timothy Adamchuk, Windham, New Hampshire. Yasmin Eklagi, Rockville, Maryland. Jeremy Anderson, Portland, Oregon. Brandon Barnett, Houston, Texas. Michael Barton, Baltimore, Maryland. Stephanie Beckel, Augusta, Maine. Spencer Bentz, Troy, Pennsylvania. Lindsay Barrett, Stevensville, Michigan. Samira Bandari, Burlington, Ontario, Canada. Nicole Karen, Weymouth, Massachusetts. Greta Ann Castanguay, Harpswell, Maine. Mijin Choi, Irvine, California. Melissa Coffey, Norwich, Vermont. David Colmenar, Oxnard, California. John Contreras, Port Chester, New York. Josue Covarrubias, Omaha, Nebraska. Brianna Dalia, Cedar Knolls, New Jersey. Alexia Dewayne, Oostburg, Wisconsin. Daniel Duarte, New Orleans, Louisiana. Brian Duffy, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Sung-Un, Hoffman Estates, Illinois. Drew Fitzgibbon, Londonderry, New Hampshire. Emily Floyd, Rehoboth, Massachusetts. Jason Greenbaum, Wickliffe, New Jersey. Casey Hallberg, Flagstaff, Arizona. Trevor Hallberg, Flagstaff, Arizona. Thomas Halpin, Kalamazoo, Michigan. Jennifer Hendren, Norcross, Georgia. John Hoffhines, Rolla, Missouri. Clayton Johnson, San Diego, California. Maheen Cabrera, Laguna Niguel, California. Kathleen Lamontagne, Manchester, New Hampshire. Luke Libby, Dayton, Maine. Christina Mataraz, Elon, North Carolina. Dylan McGee, Flower Mound, Texas. Brittany Melia, Hanover Township, Pennsylvania. Kamakshi Mamtani, Columbus, New Jersey. Wesley Mills, Kennebunk, Maine. Helen Miroshnichenko, Barrington, Rhode Island. Taryn Nasani, Portsmouth, Rhode Island. Viet Nugent, Houston, Texas. Jacob Nichols, Portland, Maine. Esther Oak, Shelton, Connecticut. Cassandra Panetta, Hole, Massachusetts. Amanda Parody, Biddeford, Maine. Jatiel Rossignol, New Sweden, Maine. Yalda Rastamnejad, Westwood, Massachusetts. Kristen Shalino, Green, Maine. Kimberly Sell, Safford, Arizona. Amer Shaw, Chicago, Illinois. Rabia Shamim, Burke, Virginia. Jessica Sikora, Honesdale, Pennsylvania. Ryan Stalker, Sequoia, New York. Jenna Stearns, Thornton, New Hampshire. Adam Stempler, Whitestone, New York. Tenzin Tamula, Fairfax, Virginia. Sheila Trengtu, Seattle, Washington. Alexander Tyberski, Gray, Maine. James Underhill, Wakefield, Rhode Island. Caitlin Van Leer, La Habra, California. Miguel Velez III, Fitchburg, Massachusetts. Craig Vermette, Biddeford, Maine. Singyu Vu, Sarasota, Florida. Christopher Whittefield, Westerly, Rhode Island. Please join me in recognizing the class of 2020 on their significant accomplishment. I would now like to welcome Dr. Fields Ferrier, one of our associate deans, to the podium to lead the students in the dentist pledge. I almost made it through the whole thing.
Thank you, Dr. Kimmis. If I could get the class of 2020 to please stand for me. In the third page of your program, you'll find the dental pledge. So please find that and follow along with me. I state your name. As a member of the dental profession, shall keep this pledge and these stipulations. I understand and accept that my primary responsibility is to my patients, and I shall dedicate myself to render to the best of my ability and to the highest standard of oral care, and to maintain a relationship of respect and confidence. Therefore, let all come to me, safe in the knowledge that their total health and well-being are my first consideration. I shall accept the responsibility that as a professional, my competence rests on the continuing the attainment of knowledge and skill in the arts and science of dentistry. I acknowledge my obligation to support and sustain the honor and integrity of the profession, and to conduct myself in all endeavors such that I shall merit the respect of patients, colleagues, and my community. I further commit myself to the betterment of my community for the benefit of all of society. I shall faithfully observe the principles of ethics and code of professional conduct set forth by the profession. All this I pledge with pride in my commitment to the profession and the public it serves. All right. Please be seated, and I'll welcome Dean Ryder back to the stage.
Okay, the white coat ceremony is now concluded. I ask that you please remain seated until the faculty and students have exited. Our faculty will be congratulating the students as they exit the auditorium, and a reception with food and refreshments will take place directly after the ceremony's conclusion. Thank you all very much for coming tonight. Thank you again for your support of the students.